So when they get this warning, they're going to want visas and travel out of the danger zone. The countries are going to refuse them. They're locked in their own countries, the Muslims, because of their terrorist activity.
Right.
This is where the Mahdi comes in and makes a false miracle. For their Mahdi, that certain particular things that have to take place prior to this. He has to be a world leader for 7 years. He has to bring peace to the Middle East. He has to have a sign in the heaven that represents him. And now he performs a false, our Bible says a false miracle. So he will change time. He will change time by 12 hours. He would claim that he's causing the Earth rotation to change by 12 hours. And then he'll claim that he's going to allow fire to fall on their enemy, North and South America. With their life at stake. And they look at him as a god almost because of that.
Right.
So that's the false miracle. Because remember, the plasma is clear. That's coming. It may be lit up. In fact, the aurora borealis will go all the way down to the equator. It will howl like a trumpet because it's so overactive. The earth would tremble. You think the earth is falling apart, but it's not. It's part of the scenario. Then the earth will start to tilt 26 to 28 degrees. It's like two bar magnets getting close to each other. The north and the south pole will lean towards each other. This is a repeat pattern that I found in history about 3 or 4 times that earth has tilted in its past 26 to 28 degrees. Well, when earth tilts, you're going to have lightning strikes, huge lightning strike between the two planets. There's electrical discharges that take place when these things. Remember, to prove out that we have a electromagnetic universe, this was just proven lately. When comet Siding Spring passed near Mars, the physicists predicted that if their model is correct, then there will be electrical discharge because of the closeness of the two objects passing together. Astronomers wouldn't believe because they say it's water vapor. Guess what happened?
Right.
Lightning struck between the two. Electrical discharges took place, proving that the electromagnetic model
we have
and plasma.
Electromagnetic. Right. So with this planet coming and going, and it will have a field behind it. That field would be electrified, so it would be attracting items from the universe. Are we going to be hit with that stuff also? Do you know? I mean, from your model. We will be entering the debris field 2 to 3 hours later. That's what hits the 1/3 of the continental crust. The plasma only affects us on our rotational speed and our aurora borealis, reaching all the way down to the equator. Then the magnetic between the two planets will cause us to tilt. Now, when Earth tilts 26 to 28 degrees, that's a movement of over 1,800 miles on the surface of Earth. Now, if it takes 5 hours coming in to cause us to tilt, and 5 hours leaving before we straighten back out again, we will reverse our tilt. Well, if you do the calc, that's a day.
Yeah, if you do the calcs right there, 1,800 miles movement in 5 hours, that gives you very close to 350 mile an hour winds. That's an F5 tornado.
Yeah.
And that would be 90 degrees off the tilt, the point of the axis of tilt.
And will that happen for 5 hours, though?
It would take 5 hours. If it does it any quicker
no, I mean the winds.
3 hours.
The winds.
Then
will the winds be for 5 hours?
It's a percentage of decrease as you move the latitude or longitude, which
Out
is
of it, right?
towards the point of its axis of tilt. The Bible is clearly indicating one of the axis of tilt would be Jerusalem, that area there.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the least winds. You have 0 there. You go 90 degrees off of that plane, you have maximum wind. That is roughly the west coast of Greenland. And you draw that line around the globe. And in other words, the Arctic Circle will come down to Washington, D.C. So you have the Arctic Circle with roughly
Washington, D.C. away.
With 300-mile-an-hour winds. You're looking at islands being flash frozen. Now, do we have any evidence of this? In the past, yes. Remember the mammoths in Siberia?
Mm-hmm.
Where the mammoths had subtropical vegetation in their stomach and their mouth. They were still flourishing. They were still eating vegetation. They didn't have time to swallow it. They were frozen before they could swallow it.
Right. So we'll have a cold that comes through like the day after that just freezes you instantly.
I'm not amused by that.
No, during the
we'll be right back to Gill Broussard after.
Yeah.
Gill, during the tilt. Great. Okay, we'll finish that right there. On the other side, we'll be right back. Welcome back. We have Gill Broussard as our guest tonight. His YouTube channel is Planet 7X. Planet 7X. You can find that up on YouTube. Okay, Gill. This is a short segment, so let's hop right back into it.
So basically, we could say that this is planet wormwood.
You cannot say that word.
No, or as they foretold in the Bible. I mean, if we're going by Revelations, and we're going to have feast, famine, like we're starting to now, and as this gets closer and falling away from us, everything's going to be like it says in the Bible, basically. I mean,
yes, whenever it's misinterpreted correctly, yes. Now, wormwood is actually a meteor that happens on the second event, 5 months later. This is more what's called Abaddon or Apollyon, which means the destroyer. That's what the planet is called in the Bible. Or fiery dragon of old, or a few other names that it calls it. But in Revelation, it's Abaddon, the destroyer. And Seal 7 talks about a fiery mountain hitting Earth that will split the Earth. It's going to hit one of our oceans, which is going to be the Pacific Ocean, because of the way Earth is rotating the models and everything. That lava comes up. It splits so badly that lava is coming up. It makes one of the seas boil. 1/3 of the sea life dies. Earth will wobble like a drunkard, like a hut in the wind, and we will lose our sense of time. It would be different.
Right.
Our calendar year would be different. In fact, we already lost 12 hours at least on the first event. So now noon is now midnight, all the way through up to the next event, and it's even hit again, and that will change our year. So that's why we won't know when the day of resurrection is even though we can count 1,260 days on a calendar, but it doesn't mean we'll know it when it comes time to it. It says only the Father will know it. Not even Yeshua knows it. So that's why as things get really messed up. And has our time changed before? Yes, it has. The time frame before Hezekiah was, this is documented in almost every culture around the world. Their calendar year was 360 days. That 30-day months and 12 months. Not until after the event, when the sundial in the King James says the sundial did it changed for 365 and a quarter days. And that's when the lunar calendar started. It
Right,
was
well,
not a
also
lunar
because
calendar
of the
before.
Romans.
What was that?
I said, and also because of the Romans adding extra days in there during Caesar's power.
Well, it seems like they keep playing with their calendar, don't
Yeah.
they? Yeah.
Yeah, well, we pretty much had 7 days a week, except for the Romans tried to make it 10. According to my research, that didn't last long because no one else wanted to follow it. But in the Hebrew, it doesn't say if the shadow went backwards on a sundial. The shadow went backwards on steps. And that proves out in a model. A sundial does not prove out. If it would have really been a sundial, then that means the Earth would have to come to a complete stop, reverse X amount of degrees of 10, come to a complete stop again, double its speed to catch up to where it was before, because there was no delay in the hours. That's not possible. Every continent would have been covered with oceans. That doesn't happen. But if a window that is facing south with a stairway casts a shadow on the steps of a stairway, and it moves 10 steps, the shadow, then you're looking at a tilt of 26 to 28 degrees.
Right.
That's exactly what
we have
see.
tilted already somewhat.
Yes, multiple times.
Hold that thought there. We'll be right back.
Hold that thought at the tilt?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back to Gill Broussard after this. Welcome back to True Traveler. Our guest tonight is Gill Broussard. Gill, I got a couple questions. I'm going to throw them out there real quick. If we follow the Bible and we believe there's going to be a remnant, and we believe there's still going to be civilization left on Earth after this, it's just going to be a really tough time. And there's not all of us that are going to survive. But if we believe in a remnant, how are we, I mean, when you think about this, are like the winds going to be temporary? They're going to go away? Or are they going to last for days at a time? How's the remnant going to even survive this?
The high winds are in one direction as it's tilting, whether it's 3 to 5 hours. Then as it moves out of the way, it comes back. So you have opposite winds for 3 to 5 hours.
Oh.
Okay? After that, Earth is out of the plasma field. It is receiving the electrical energy from the sun that goes down the north, and it'll start its rotation again. Okay? But then there'll probably be tidal waves or coastal flooding, severe coastal flooding, when it cranks back up again, you see? Because the water was still, and it may, I don't have the data to say how much torque the Earth would have generate when it comes back on. The remnant that you're talking about, which many people have misconfused with a rapture, the remnant is taken to a place in the wilderness, it says, on Earth. And the reason why for that is because you can't experience how powerful the Almighty is unless He's protecting you and everything else is going on to this extent around you. That gives you the awe and the power of God to feel. So you will feel it, taste it, smell it, see it, and experience it. But you're going to be doing it in a place of safety where He's protecting you. Okay?
Well, how do we even survive the meteor showers? I mean...
Well, it's only on half of the Earth that gets hit. Okay?
Yeah, Israel.
Now, the reason why it's Israel... Yeah, there's always... I found at least 12 points that point to where it specifically says the remnant needs to be in Jerusalem at Mount Zion. And this falls in line with the custom that the Jews have been holding for many, many years. At the Feast of